Ready? Start. Ladies and gentlemen, Iceland has embraced nature like none other. It has shown unparalleled compassion to nurture it. I have therefore, as a tribute to your commitment, chosen to speak on the theme India Iceland for a greener planet. Mother Earth today is under stress. Climate change and environmental degradation pose a huge challenge to life. The beautiful glaciers that dominate this wonderful land are receding. I have been told that Iceland loses 40 square kilometers of glacial cover annually. In my own country, we are facing rapid melting of snow on the Himalayan peaks. This threatens not just our ecosystem but our complete way of life. I grew up on the banks of River Ganga in my native Kanpur. Rivers are sacred to us. They are intimately connected to our culture, our religion, and our social life. It was therefore natural for me, as with others in India and elsewhere, to develop a deep sense of reverence and respect for them. In the year 1972, it had been just cover a year that I passed out of university. This was the time of the landmark United Nations Conference on Human Environment in Stockholm, which brought environment to the center of global discourse. Around the same time, we had a people's movement, Chipko Andolan, in India to save our trees and preserve our mountain ecology. The form of the movement was that people would embrace a tree and sit there in protest day in and day out to stop felling of trees. It was a unique expression of love for future. A decade before that, Carson's book on environment silent spring had warned us of limitless exploitation of nature. At that time, climate change was not seen as one of the most pressing concerns. But we have come a long way since. Today we have an increasing number of global forums where we are discussing environment protection, biodiversity conservation, carbon sinks, and green growth. And yet, despite extensive knowledge on the subject, we are witness to rapidly melting glaciers and ice caps, extreme weather events, depleting marine resources, receding forests, and shrinking of biodiversity. We are also equally aware of the enormous socio-economic implications of climate change, especially for the poor. Clearly, increase in knowledge and availability of scientific evidence have not led to adequate practical action to deal with climate change and environmental degradation. But we are on course, and Iceland is showing us the way. As a country, you have moved away from importing fossil fuels for electricity generation to producing 100% of energy from renewable sources. And all this has happened in a span of a few decades. What does it tell us? Clearly and emphatically that development and environment protection can go hand in hand. Through commitment and compassion, through technology and timely action, and through clean energy pathways and change in consumption patterns, we can make a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, Iceland's green growth is a remarkable story. You are pioneers in energy and resource efficiency. Your people have found new ways to work with available resources and then innovatively scale them up too. I am informed that in 1907, a farmer ran a pipe from a hot spring revolution off to his farm to provide steam to his house. That idea today has led to geothermal energy revolution, heating 90% of houses in Iceland. The manner in which Iceland has pursued development in its fishery sector after collapse of its fish stock in the 1970s is worthy of emulation. India and the world can benefit from Iceland's expertise in sustainable fishing and fabrication of a fishing fleet. Your waste to wealth approach in converting fish skin into leather and cosmetics also opens a whole new world of opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, to make the earth greener is a global challenge. It requires a global response. There can no longer be a path to development that does not factor in environmental considerations. We are deeply conscious of it. India is now the world's fastest growing major economy, and we require a huge expansion of our energy production. But we are doing it in a sustainable manner. Even as we grow, we are on course to meet our commitments under the Paris Agreement. India's greenhouse gas emission intensity of its GDP will be reduced by 33 to 35% below 2005 levels by 2030. We will be creating an additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent through additional forest and tree cover by 2030. We have set ourselves a target of installing 175 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by the year 2022 and a target of meeting 40% of the total energy from non-fossil sources by the year 2030. In our ever-growing commitment to renewable energy, we will be turning towards utilization of geothermal energy also. We look forward to working with Iceland in this regard. India has pledged to eliminate single-use plastic by 2022. We have an ambitious target to put 6 to 7 million hybrid and electric vehicles on the road by 2020. Under our national scheme Ujala, we have distributed 358 million LED bulbs, reducing 37 million tons of carbon dioxide release in the atmosphere.